Welcome back to Fry Minis. I'm Eric, and today we're continuing our Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft coverage with the College of Spirits Bard subclass. All right, so this Bard subclass was originally introduced in some Unearthed Arcana. We've had some changes to it, specifically around the table of cool effects you can create. It's built around magic cards or similar devices that can create stories and tales that impact your fellow players or your enemies. So let's jump right in. Bards of the College of Spirits seek tales with inherent power, be they legends, histories, or fictions, and bring their subjects to life. Using occult trappings, these bards conjure spiritual embodiments of powerful forces to change the world once more. Such spirits are capricious, though, and what a bard summons isn't always entirely under their control. So there we go, right off the bat, great flavor, using the past to tell the future. I think it's a really cool angle that hasn't been covered yet. At level 3, we get Guiding Whispers. You can reach out to spirits to guide you and others. You learn the Guidance cantrip, which doesn't count against the number of bard cantrips you know. For you, it has a range of 60 feet when you cast it. Guidance is one of the best cantrips in the game. Just please, for the sake of your DM's mental health, be sure to actually say you're going to use it before you want to use it. Retro guidance is never fun, and that 60-foot range is awesome. Also at level 3, we get Spiritual Focus. You employ tools that aid you in channeling spirits, be they historical figures or fictional archetypes. You can use the following objects as a spellcasting focus for your bard spells: a candle, crystal ball, skull, spirit board, or Taroka deck. And starting at 6th level, when you cast a bard spell that deals damage or restores hit points through the Spiritual Focus, roll a d6, and you gain a bonus to 1 damage or healing roll of the spell equal to the number rolled. So the first part, the actual focus, I think is cool. Expanding out your options is always flavorful and great. The second part, the 6th level part, is a little interesting. The number of bard spells that actually require a focus is very small. And yes, you can increase that through your magic secrets, but I think a lot of these will come down to, are you able to cast a spell that wouldn't normally use a focus through a focus? I would allow it. I'm just not sure on how rules is written legal that is. And our biggest level 3 feature, Tales from Beyond. You reach out to spirits who tell their tales through you. While you are holding your spiritual focus, you can use a bonus action to expend 1 use of your bardic inspiration and roll on the Spirit Tales table using your bardic inspiration die to determine the tale the spirits direct you to tell. You retain the tale in mind until you bestow the tale's effects or you finish a short or long rest. You can use an action to choose 1 creature you can see within 30 feet of you, this can be you, to be the target of the tale's effect. Once you do, you can't bestow the tale's effect again until you roll it again. You can retain only 1 of these tales in your mind at a time, and rolling on the Spirit Tales table immediately ends the effect of the previous tale. If the tale requires a saving throw, the DC equals your spell save DC. Before we even get to the table, I love the idea of this. I love the idea of the Wild Magic Sorcerer with its table. Just wish we could use it a little bit more. But here you're in full control. You're doing it whenever you want. The effect you get is random, of course, but that scaling idea sticks around. So because this is built around your Bardic Inspiration die, when you only have a d6, you can only get the first 6 effects. And as that increases, you open up more and more effects. Okay, so here is the Spirit Tales table. Ultimately, it's a d12 table. Tale of the Clever Animal. For the next 10 minutes, whenever the target makes an intelligence, a wisdom, or a charisma check, the target can roll an extra die immediately after rolling the d20 and add the extra die's number to the check. The extra die is the same type as your Bardic Inspiration. Tales of the Renowned Duelist. You make a melee spell attack against the target. On a hit, the target takes force damage equal to 2 rolls of your Bardic Inspiration die, plus your Charisma modifier. Tale of the Beloved Friends. The target and another creature of its choice it can see within 5 feet of it gains temporary hit points equal to a roll of your Bardic Inspiration die, plus your Charisma modifier. Tale of the Runaway. The target can immediately use its reaction to teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space it can see. When the target teleports, it can choose a number of creatures it can see within 30 feet of it, up to your Charisma modifier, minimum of 0, to immediately use the same reaction. Tale of the Avenger. For 1 minute, any creature that hits the target with a melee attack takes force damage equal to a roll of your Bardic Inspiration die. Tale of the Traveler. The target gains temporary hit points equal to a roll of your Bardic Inspiration die, plus your bard level. While it has those temporary hit points, the target's walking speed increases by 10 feet and it gains a +1 bonus to its AC. Tale of the Beguiler. The target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or take psychic damage equal to 2 rolls of your bardic inspiration die, and the target is incapacitated until the end of its next turn. Tale of the Phantom. The target becomes invisible until the end of its next turn or until it hits a creature with an attack. If the target hits a creature with an attack during this invisibility, the creature it hits takes necrotic damage equal to a roll of your bardic inspiration die and is frightened of the target until the end of the frightened creature's next turn. Tale of the Brute. Each creature of the target's choice it can see within 30 feet of it must make a strength saving throw. On a failed save, a creature takes thunder damage equal to 3 rolls of its bardic inspiration die and is knocked prone. A creature that succeeds on its saving throw takes half as much damage and isn't knocked prone. Tale of the Dragon. The target spews fire from the mouth in a 30-foot cone. Each creature in the area must make a dexterity saving throw, taking fire damage equal to 4 rolls of your bardic inspiration die on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. Tale of the Angel. The target regains hit points equal to 2 rolls of your bardic inspiration die plus your charisma modifier, and you end 1 condition from the following list affecting the target: blinded, deafened, paralyzed, petrified, or poisoned. Tale of the Mindbender. You evoke an incomprehensible fable from an otherworldly being. The target must succeed on an intelligence saving throw or take psychic damage equal to 3 rolls of your bardic inspiration die and be stunned until the end of its next turn. I think this table is super awesome. The effects are varied. They're going to make sense at every level 3 to level 20. You're going to like every single ability there. I think they're flavorful. I think we've got a good spread of types. We've got healing, temporary hit points, damage, AoE damage, on attack damage, visibility, all sorts of really, really cool stuff. And I'm sure we'll see some homebrew tables expanding this out even further. And at 6th level, we have Spirit Session. Spirits provide you with supernatural insights. You can conduct an hour-long ritual channeling spirits, which can be done during a short or long rest, using your spiritual focus. You can conduct the ritual with a number of willing creatures equal to your proficiency bonus, including yourself. At the end of the ritual, you temporarily learn 1 spell of your choice from any class. The spell you choose must be of a level equal to the number of creatures that conducted the ritual or less. The spell must be of a level you can cast, and it must be in the school of divination or necromancy. The chosen spell counts as a bard spell for you, but doesn't count against the number of bard spells you know. Once you perform the ritual, you can't do so again until you start a long rest, and you know the chosen spell until you start a long rest. So I'm a little torn on this one. I love the idea, the flavor of the group working together, of how you gain this spell. I think the mechanics of its level kind of thing makes sense, but it's unusual to have something tied to your party size. So if you're in a party, or like a 3-person party, your options are going to be very different than if you are in an 8-person party. I guess you could summon some creatures, some pets, and have them be willing creatures to help you. But the whole thing is, if this only lasts a long rest, you might need to do it out in like a dungeon or a forest or something. So you're a little limited there. The school restrictions to necromancy and divination flavorfully makes sense, but I do feel that might limit our options a little more than I would like. I think it's a cool feature. I don't think it's as strong maybe as it should be. And at 14th level, we have our capstone feature, Mystical Connection. You now have the ability to nudge the spirits of tales from beyond towards certain tales. Whenever you roll on the spirits table, you can roll the die twice and choose which of the 2 effects you bestow. If you roll the same number on both dice, you can ignore the number and choose any effect on the table. I think that's great. I like mechanics that give you a little more choice, a little flexibility in where your randomness lands. I think Bard's capstone for the subclass being at 14 is a good place. It's high enough level that it seems like it's a ways away when you start a fresh character, but 14 isn't impossibly high. Capstones that are at 20, they sound great on paper, of course, but how often do we actually get there? 14, I think, is much more attainable. And we also have a special call-out section about spirit tales. Storytellers, like bards of the College of Spirits, often give voice to tales inspired by some greater theme or body of work. When determining what stories you tell, consider what unites them. Do they all feature characters from a specific group, like archetypes from the Taroka deck, figures from constellations, childhood imaginary friends, or characters in a particular storybook? Or are your inspirations more general, incorporating historic champions, mythological heroes, or urban legends? Use the tales you tell to define your niche as a storytelling adventurer. Love that. Anytime the book helps you create some idea of how to flavor, so it's not telling you how to flavor, but it's telling you how to flavor, if that makes sense. I think it's great. I love the idea of it being childhood imaginary friends. I think that's fun. But I think the obvious answer here is to flavor it as the like future ghosts of your own party. Maybe that's not obvious. Maybe that's just an idea. Or hear me out, past characters that you've played, especially if your group has played together before and you use those stories from your past characters. Super cool. I love it. So College of Spirits Bard, I think, is amazingly flavorful. I think on its thematics, it gets like a perfect score. Some of the mechanics are a little funky. I think that spiritual focus in particular. I don't believe you can channel any spell through a focus if it doesn't require one. Please let me know in the comments. I'm probably wrong on that, but I'm maybe right too. I don't know. The table is awesome. The spiritual tales, I think that's great. So I think it's really cool. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft coverage here on Fry Minis. Thank you.